This trailer behind me is the most fuel efficient in its class, and it's just 2,200 pounds. It can be towed by mid-sized SUVs like our Highlander Hybrid.
And if you've been following along with our adventures so far, we were given a fascinating tour of Safari Condo's factory to see how these game-changing aerodynamic trailers are made. And while we were there, we picked up our new home on wheels, the A1752.
We've been living in it for a few weeks now, and today we're going to give you a tour, share some of our honest feedback, and tell you whether it's worth the expensive price tag.
As the name implies, the A1752 is a 17-foot long trailer. Safari Condo has other 17-foot models, but this is the first one that comes to a point in the front. So you've probably seen most other trailers, they've got a bunch of like mechanical stuff up at the front, propane tanks, batteries, that kind of stuff. But this is very clean. So basically the aluminum sidewalls of the trailer come all the way to the front up to the hitch, and then they hide some of the propane tanks. It's really just the propane tanks that they put under there. And then everything else above here is cabinet storage for the kitchen. Safari Condo makes all of their trailers with this alu fiber panel wall construction. So it's essentially a thin piece of aluminum laminated to fiberglass. They put a honeycomb core material in between. It's incredibly rigid and lightweight, and there's nothing to rust or rot. The one downside to this is heat management. It stays plenty warm. A lot of people ask us if it can stay warm in the wintertime. No problem at all, but it does get pretty hot on the inside because the walls are very thin.
Especially when the sun is just kind of like beating on it. It's essentially like an aluminum can.
Right, let's walk over here. In the few weeks that we've been towing this, our fuel economy has just been off the charts. So that's our Highlander Hybrid. In previous Alto models that we've towed, we typically get 15 to 16 miles per gallon. In this trailer so far, we've been getting 18.5 to even 19 miles per gallon. 20, 20, 20, do it.
Do it.
Oh, we're so, 20, 20. Update, future Justin here. When we recorded this video, I told you that we were getting between 18.5 and 19 miles per gallon while towing. This is our first long haul drive. We're going from Maine down to Rhode Island. We're driving about 300 miles today. So far, we're about 60 miles in, and we just hit 20 miles per gallon, which is just crazy. I did not think that that was possible with this car. The fact that we can get 20 miles per gallon, and this is very hilly. We're going uphill. We've got some headwind. This is just absolutely unbelievable. So Safari Condo does offer other options that keep it a little bit cooler. So we've got a big Fiamma awning. I think this is 8 or 10 feet wide. And then you can retract this awning almost 10 feet off of the trailer, which is really cool because when this side of the trailer is facing the sun, you can pull this out, and then instead of having the sun beat on the sidewall of the trailer, it can hit the awning.
It really helps a surprising amount.
I put it out almost every day. And another thing that makes it really easy to deploy this awning are these little tiny clips. So this is a plastic clip that we've got on the front and the back of the trailer. And instead of having to stake the awning legs into the ground with a hammer, which you still can do, you can just put the legs of the awning right in here.
We didn't have this in our last trailer, and it was actually kind of annoying. So this is a pretty big game changer.
Yeah, we would just not put the awning out because it was too much work. And sometimes, like if you were parked on a pavement, you just couldn't stake the awning legs to the ground. So you couldn't deploy the awning. But this is really cool because you can be in the middle of a parking lot and put your awning out. They put this aluminum track on the wall. So we have this tiny table that we can hook on there, which is really cool if you want to work outside or chop up some vegetables.
You can also use the table that comes with the trailer, the bigger one, which we'll show you later as well.
Ah, yes, the one that's in the dinette inside. You can take it off the wall, bring it out here, and that seats up to 4 or even 5 people, and it totally fits under the awning. If you retract the awning all the way out, you can have a rainy day and you can have a whole party. So I mentioned that this is the most aerodynamic trailer in its class, and one of the ways that they achieve that is a second floor. So you'll notice underneath the trailer, There is a underbelly. It is basically an aluminum pan like this that spans the whole length of the trailer from front to back, and it totally encloses everything underneath the trailer. So all of the plumbing, the frame, the axle, and that helps reduce aerodynamic drag even more. While we're down here, I thought I'd point out one of our favorite features of this trailer. This is called a Caravan Mover. So it's basically a knurled wheel that engages with the tire. There's one on each side of the trailer, and you can steer the entire trailer around with a remote control. It is absolutely incredible.
If you really want to impress your neighbors at an RV park, like everyone loses their mind when they see it.
I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I will wait to move the trailer until someone is walking by. But yeah, it's
pay attention to me.
Yeah, seriously. But they're really cool because when you're moving, you can just drive the trailer up onto the ball hitch of the car with pinpoint precision. But it's also really nice because Jess and I do a lot of boondocking. Like right now, we're on a farm. We don't have any electrical hookups. While this space was easy to get into, some of the spaces where we go are incredibly difficult to park in. So we're able to navigate the trailer into some really tight spots with the Caravan Movers. So I mentioned earlier that the air conditioner on the other side is probably going to turn into additional storage. So these are the storage hatches on the trailer. There's one big one, so we keep our toolbox and some cables and other stuff like that. And we've got another smaller one on the other side. We just keep like our dump hose, accessories, and things like that. It's really not big.
I will say as compared to other Alto trailers, this probably has the least amount of outdoor hatches that we've had so far.
But I'm not complaining because the amount of storage in this trailer is extraordinary. In fact, I think we should go take a look. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So welcome to our trailer. As Justin mentioned, we have a galley kitchen. This is probably my favorite aspect about this particular trailer. Whenever we park someplace, we leave our air fryer and coffee maker out because there is so much counter space.
And then look at all this.
We have all of this, and then we also have this little island thing over here. You have a 2-burner stove made by Dinette. There's also a sink. I think this is really cool and modern, and it's actually much bigger than the normal sinks they have. I think this was just like a test that they were trying out, and I don't think this is going to be available in the A1752.
I'd love to see them put this in other models. Like this folds all the way down. It's really tall, so you can put a full bottle or pots and pans in there. It's square, so you've got more space.
We also have a microwave. That's kind of it in terms of sort of different cooking implements, but I want to point out there is so much storage in this kitchen. So Justin talked earlier about the propane tanks, which are basically down in this area, but all of this area is all just food stuff. I see these in vans all the time, these like elastic storage things. If you guys have like cool ideas of stuff to put up here.
Yeah, what do you put up here?
But if you need space, plenty of space.
We've been putting paper towels and potatoes.
Potatoes,
boxes
Justin
of
always puts
cereal.
potatoes, but I think they look messy, so I put them away.
Yeah.
But then we also have all of this space, which we use for kind of like pantry items, cooking, cleaning stuff. So we live in our trailer full time, and we've always struggled with where to put our garbage. In our last trailer, there was this kind of weird drawer that I think is supposed to be for pots and pans, but we just kind of like shove a plastic bag into this drawer and pull it in and out every time. We have enough space in this trailer to have a whole garbage can. Like, this might not seem like that big of a deal, but a lot of people have questions about what to use for like what garbage solution people have. So the fact that you actually have the space, there's also a drawer up here as well that we usually use for technology. All of that being said, there is a ton of storage, especially kitchen storage.
We've lived in bigger trailers, 21-foot trailers that feel like they have less space than this. It's like being in the like the TARDIS or like what's that Harry Potter room?
Mr.
Like
Weasley's tent.
Mr. Weasley's tent. It really feels like you've got, you know, like just an insane amount of storage in here.
The batteries are down here as well. We have a 500 amp hour battery, I believe.
Yeah, so it's a 520 amp hour battery bank. So it's 4 individual batteries that are up there, and they're at 12 volts. So that's 6.24 kilowatts of batteries.
500 amp hours is like an incredible amount of energy, but I will say we still struggle a little bit with power. We have a ton of solar. We have 440 watts.
Right. The standard is 220 watts, or you can upgrade to 440 watts. We boondock almost exclusively. Yeah. So if you plan on camping at campgrounds, this isn't a problem for you. But
also, context, we work in our trailer full time. When we're talking about all of this, we're usually working behind our laptops, running our Starlink, running our air fryer, running our coffee maker. So we use a lot of energy, but all that being said, if you want to be like totally off the grid and use this kind of setup, you would probably need to get a supplementary solar panel.
Right. I'd really love to see a 600 watt option. I just don't think that there's enough real estate on the roof to do that. I mean, they might be, I know this front section that kind of like comes to a point, it doesn't have any solar panels, but you can see it from the road, so I don't know how good it would look.
Another issue that might resolve some of those problems is the refrigerator. So in a few of our trailers, we've had refrigerators that can run off of either DC power or propane. This is the refrigerator that can only run off of DC power. So this is always kind of sort of sucking up our battery power, which kind of stinks, but apparently there's not sort of enough like real estate on the outside to add a vent.
Yeah, they would have to put like a vent, like a big, like a panel right here for ventilating, and I just don't think it works.
So for people like us who primarily boondock and really use a lot of energy and live in their trailer full time, it would be awesome to see a propane fridge, but you know, all things considered, we usually have to run our generator maybe like once every 4 days or something, and that's sort of being totally unabashed with our power usage.
It's essentially like a quarter of our big battery bank is pretty much dedicated to running this fridge. So, you know, we have to rely on the solar panels, or if the batteries go low, we got to break out the generator.
This is definitely the smallest of all of the refrigerators that we've had. I still think we can probably fit around a week-ish worth of food in there. So for us, it's really not that big of a deal. But again, if you're somebody who wants to be able to camp for 2 weeks and never leave your campsite ever, something to be aware of. We have the inverter, which is something that you would need if you plan on not being poked up to shore power and using things like the microwave or air fryer. Since it's a 2000 watt inverter, it's large enough so that we can run our Starlink and our air fryer at the same time. We have this kind of spice rack, which is nice. USB ports, which have both USB-A and USB-C.
We've got a 100-liter freshwater tank, a 92-liter gray tank, and a 54-liter black tank. Our freshwater tank has no problem taking us like a week at a campsite. Sometimes we'll have to fill up a jerry can and bring water back with us. Our gray tank is always way more than enough. Admittedly, we don't take as many showers as we'd prefer when we're boondocking.
It fills up the tank fast.
If
you take a shower, it like fills up at least like 20% per person.
Yeah, well, that's because you like the 20% per Jessica.
I may be promiscuous with the pressure.
She likes the pressure. It's pretty good.
The black tank is our limiting factor. Usually that takes us about 5 days unless there's like a vault toilet that we can use. Our Trimacombi is what we use to heat our water and air. It can run off of either electricity, so if you're on shore power, or alternatively, it can also run off of propane. This trailer probably has my favorite layout, at least, of all of the different Safari Condo models that we've been in. This bathroom, though, has a little bit of room for improvement. It's my understanding that they've shortened it to make the bed a little bit longer.
No, lengthened it.
Oh my God.
I think they ate into the bed space a little bit so that they could make the bathroom a little bit bigger.
Yeah, the bathroom is relatively small. I'm a pretty petite person. I'm 5'4". I have pretty stumpy legs. But when I use the bathroom, I don't have very much room. When I take a shower, I don't have very much room. Something else that's worth pointing out is there's no window. It gets really hot. It's like currently around 88 degrees in here, and I am svelting right now. There's usually a window in the other models that we've had that we open. It increases airflow. It also helps vent any kind of smell, as well as whenever we take a shower, we usually open the window to kind of get all of the different moisture out of it. So this has been a little bit of a challenge. That being said, I mean, it's a wet bath, so you still have the shower and toilet. Additionally, it has a ton of, I probably won't show you in there because it's not very clean, but it has a ton of storage space, more than you would guess and more than Justin and I would ever need. So I mean, it does the job, but I wish it was a little bigger, I guess, is kind of the headline.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal, y'all. It's a small bathroom. There's no way around it. I honestly don't see a way that they could change it. Frankly, it's not that big of a deal to us because I think we spend 1% of our time in this trailer in the bathroom. So I'm 6 feet tall and I can stand in there without hitting my head on the ceiling. So with all of the Alto models, you'll notice that the shower is raised a couple inches compared to the rest of the floor. So in the main section, I've got probably like 4 inches, 3-4 inches above my head. And then let's go in the shower. And then in here, I can stand, it's very close. Now I've got my shoes on, but I've got about 1 inch of space. So if you were above 6'1", you're gonna have to duck a little bit. The rest of the trailer, you'll probably be fine.
So this is the only Safari Condo model that I'm aware of that doesn't have a dinette in the front. They only have a dinette in the back. We use this all the time. We always struggled previously of where to sit at night or even where to work, but we spend 80% of our time here either working on our laptops or at night. After we make dinner, we'll, you know, watch a Hulu show or something together here. Much more comfortable than the other Altos. The one thing I will point out is this table could maybe be a little bit improved upon. So it's my understanding that this is kind of designed off of a table that's in their camper vans, but the one that's in their camper vans is much smaller. This is much, much larger. It has this leaf that folds out, which in general is kind of a cool idea. This could obviously sit 4 people pretty comfortably. However, it kind of like, there's not enough support basically to have this heavy end.
You've essentially got that single leg that the entire table bounces on. It's a ton of weight with just the table's weight alone. And then imagine putting like other stuff on here. I mean, there's just no way that we'd put anything important on here. So really, we just never turn this out. We always keep it in this orientation. This is definitely the most comfortable table we've had in a trailer yet. It's worth mentioning, it's cumbersome to take off the wall and convert into the bed orientation.
I wouldn't say it's that big of a deal. I'm pretty fit and it's pretty heavy for me. So if you're somebody who's older or maybe not as like physically fit, I would say it might be a little bit cumbersome for you. So in order to lift it up, you kind of have to like jack it up to get it off of the wall and then place it here.
So you'll see how the table sits on these tracks on either side of the bed, and that effectively becomes the base for this big cushion here. So then after you do the table, you put this big cushion down, and then this other cushion has a rigid back to it, so it doesn't need any base. And then you've got your king size bed.
This is an 81 by 76 inch bed, but it also can convert into 2 single beds if you just kind of leave these 2 cushion parts out. We use this mattress topper to make the bed more comfortable, which I highly recommend if you wind up getting these beds.
If you're someone who's tall, your feet can easily hang off the end of the bed. So you could be, you know, 6'3", 6'4", and sleep in this trailer.
This is, I think, new for all Safari Condo models, is this fabric. I love, this is a blue fabric. It looks really modern to me. It's also made out of like 50% recycled plastic bottles, which I think is really cool. It's very soft, and I just love the way that it looks. It looks like bright and cheerful while also hiding dirt a little bit better. And something that I wanted to point out is how much storage it has. So previously in our last trailer, we needed to put our air fryer and our coffee maker into our closet. I actually ruined several of my dresses because there was like random food bits that wound up getting caught from the air fryer onto my clothes. We have so much space that usually when we're traveling, our air fryer and coffee maker will go up here. We just have so much other space too. I have an entire cabinet to myself. This is kind of like our extra bulky clothing / sheets. Like we just have so much extra. We have an entire hats shelf. We have a shelf dedicated to hats because we have so much storage space we can. This one just is like my laptop storage area that I use when we're working. It's kind of crazy how much storage space we have.
So in addition to all of the overhead storage, we also have under bench storage. This one probably has a little bit less than most. You'll notice over here, we've got the air conditioner, which takes up like 60% of it. And then we've got some laundry stuff over here. And then similarly on that side, half of it's eaten up for like the space heater and water heater. And then the other half is where we keep our kind of like bulky outside items like cords. So not a ton of space under there. One thing that's really nice, this bench on the back is storage that goes the entire length of the trailer. It's almost 7 feet wide. If you had long items like skis, that would be a perfect place to put things like that.
I think it has the equivalent storage as the 2114, which is the 21-foot model, which has a lot of space, storage space.
It's really nice, especially as people who live in this trailer full time. It's that was always such a chore for us whenever we would go to bed or make dinner. It was always shuffling, but now everything has its place. So we've got a cabinet where we can, so this is like a, what do they call that? Closet. You can tell I haven't lived in a house for a long time.
What do they call those things? Closet?
You know, one of them fancy rooms where they put their clothes up. It doesn't hang a lot, but it can probably hang like, I don't know, you know, a few jackets.
It hangs everything that we need it to hang.
We've also got a little tiny one down here.
Shoe cubby.
Just for our shoes. How nice is that? So we can keep our dirty shoes out of the way.
I would say out of all of the Alto trailers, this is probably my favorite setup so far. It kind of feels the most like a home. You just have more space. The kitchen feels a lot more wide open. It just feels more livable. The one thing that I loved about the 1743 Expedition, which is the trailer that we had last, was that it was great for kind of more off-grid camping. We were able to get places that were a little bit more rugged. So far, we've had the trailer all on the East Coast. We've done a lot of doing like Boondockers Welcome, which is a program where you basically stay at like people's backyards, which is where we are right now. I'm curious to see when we go out to the West Coast, where we're doing a lot more like BLM, National Forest, kind of like more rugged camping, how this trailer holds up, because I do think that it might be a little bit more limited as to the places that we can go.
So the $1 million question, is this trailer worth the hefty price tag? This model starts at just over $47,000 US with today's conversion rate, which is not cheap on the travel trailer market. But if you watched last week's video where we showed how these trailers are made, you'll understand that the incredible design and build quality command that price. Jess and I, as well as many other Alto owners, have sold their used Alto. Some have owned them as long as 10 years. They've sold them for more than they bought them for. That's unheard of for any vehicle, let alone a recreational vehicle. And that's because owners understand the value of a product that's going to stay on the road longer. It's not going to require as much maintenance.
I'm really excited to see how aerodynamic offerings like this change the towing market. I think it's going to become much more common to see electric vehicles and midsize SUVs towing other kinds of trailers.
If you want to follow our adventures in this trailer or to any other exciting destinations abroad, we would love it if you would consider subscribing to our channel. If you have any questions about this trailer, definitely be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Oh my God! I didn't think it was possible! Guys, 21 miles per gallon! This is insane. Our last Alto, also 17 feet long, averaged 15.5 miles per gallon. That means for every gallon of gas burned, we are going an additional 5.5 miles. It's not uncommon for Jess and I to tow 20 to 30,000 miles a year. That's thousands of dollars in gas saved. I mean, that is just absolutely bonkers.